Okay, welcome back to the channel. Today I've got pretty damn exciting news. We've done a whole bunch of testing on horrific visions, which are coming in patch 11.1.5, and Blizzard have made absolutely massive improvements. So, long story short, if you were not there for these in Battle for Azeroth and you just saw this as a new feature in the game, you would pretty much just assume that Blizzard went and made one of their best bits of content. Seriously, these are that good. And of course, if you're like me and you did play them in Battle for Azeroth, well, I actually think you'll be pleased. This version is so much better. It does highlight the real stupid decisions that went on during BFA, but man, I'm happy to say that, yeah, playing it today, it's really damn good. Now, I've also got an overpowered combo for you. Here it is. Typical email sucks, but Proton Mail, the leader in privacy-focused services where, funnily enough, you're the customer, not the product, are working with porkbun.com, who have sponsored today's video. Now, Porkbun are a domain registrar, and using Porkbun for your custom domain and then Proton for your email will have you looking like a credible professional. You'll get the best secure email experience that is out there. And if you use them together, you'll get today's banger deal. Now, when you're using Proton for your email, you're getting end-to-end encryption of your email contents, your subject lines, your attachments, no prying eyes. It's pretty good, like for a professional scenario, and you get access to Proton's host of privacy-first tools like Calendar, Drive, VPN, and Pass for your passwords. They've got apps across every device, and setup is dead fast. And of course, if you're using Proton, you're caring about privacy. And that's why Porkbun is an amazing combination, because Porkbun does not upcharge you for privacy features like Who is Privacy and SSL and other things that other registrars do upcharge you for. That saves you a whole bunch of money, as does this. Proton Mail Essentials or Professional plans start at just $5.99 a month for Porkbun customers. That's an absolutely banger deal, and you can check it out at the link below. First things first, what is a horrific vision? Alright, so if you weren't there back in the day, here's the TLDR. In patch 8.3, we needed a legendary cloak to break into, basically, purple Mordor, and bring an end to the old god N'Zoth. So, Rathian and a Titan construct called Mother sent us into these horrific visions, which you could almost say were kind of like the first version of Delves. So, alone or in a party, you would go into a corrupted nightmare version of Stormwind or Orgrimmar. You would basically be racing against your draining sanity bar to complete objectives in each area. And if you get hit by an attack, you lose sanity. So it ended up making some honestly, like, pretty high stakes, engaging gameplay. Now, your main goal is to kill Illyria or Thrall, but there are 4 extra objectives in each. And those are things like blowing up the Dwarven District or murdering Rexxar in the Valley of Honor. Now, the way it works is that the areas drain more sanity as you press on. So you start off in the Tainted area, and then you move from the Tainted area to the Corrupted Zone, and then finally you will get the 2 Lost Zones where you'll be having the most sanity drain. And your overall goal, right, is to get a full clear, which is to push through all of the areas and then take off the final boss, and that boss will be stronger for each of the objectives that you bring down. And you want to do that all before your sanity hits 0, and of course you get a few ways to manipulate your sanity. Now, some people look at this and just go, oh, it's a timer, lazy game, bad game, get very angry. No, I actually don't think that is fair at all whatsoever here. Look, if you like roguelites, if you like other sorts of games, this is basically that within World of Warcraft, and yeah, it actually does end up working quite well. But if you want even more difficulty, you can then unlock Faceless Masks. These apply optional debuffs to juice up the final reward for each one of them that you have active, and the ultimate goal was to clear with 5 masks active on both zones. Suffice to say, that's not the same anymore because there are 3 extra masks. And of course, you also earn a currency called Corrupted Mementos, which you can use to buy a whole bunch of different cosmetic rewards. So, that's what they were. Here's how Blizzard completely ruined them. If you were to strip away everything else, I'd say the general consensus in BFA was that these actually were quite fun in gameplay terms. They were brand new, sort of flex-friendly gameplay. It was a scenario with teeth. It was clearly inspired by Legion's Mage Tower in a few ways. It kind of had everything. It asks you to know your class, to understand the mechanics, to pay attention, to play carefully. It had small random elements to keep things fresh, and the satisfaction of finally learning how to find good potions or quickly clear an area was real fantastic. You could develop a sense of mastery that felt good, and in hindsight, these were totally the future of WoW. But the problem is a lot of people do not have a positive memory of them because Blizzard at the time managed to ruin them. Thing number one, they were chores. You needed to upgrade your legendary cloak to raid in the Nyalotha raid, and that basically turned what was fun into a chore. Even the best content can be made miserable if you're forced to do it when you don't want to do it. Problem two was the entry to Horrific Visions was gated by keys. You needed to do patch 8.3 weeklies or to farm currency in order to get a vessel of Horrific Visions. So basically, right, you had to do chores in order to unlock another chore. And worse yet, it was real punishing. If you just made a slip up on a higher difficulty, you're out. That's it. And you get very little loot. Basically, imagine if you were doing a delve and your delve actually destroyed your coffer key when you died. Basically that. Didn't feel good. Combine that with the pressure of a draining sanity bar and players just felt like, you know, they couldn't rush, but at the same time they felt like they were forced to rush. It was the same problem that Mythic Plus can kind of face, where there was almost no room for learning. People didn't try harder difficulties because of the risk and because it was a chore to gear up your cloak so you could do Nyalotha. Thankfully, though, this time it's very different. The good news is this time around, all that bullshit is fixed. You can go in whenever you like. You can do as much as you like or as little as you like. If you want to farm out all of the new rewards like this Corrupted Dragon or the Voidfire Death Cycle, you can just grind that out in a few days, even without adding in the mask debuffs. Now, if you just want, say, your heroic weapon, that'll take a day or two of pushing the achievement, and that's it. When you're in a run, if you fail, it's completely fine, just go again. There is no resource that is lost or random form of punishment. You just learn from your mistakes, try to beat it next time, which does mean that this, as a piece of challenging content, actually works. You don't get a random punishment, you feel like you want to push difficulty, and because the death penalty is simply just your time and you're guaranteed some progress, guess what? You get into flow and it feels good, just like you're playing a roguelike. It really works. And that's not only because they've removed things. There's a huge addition in the form of a new party member called the Construct of Soradormi. It's a new follower who can DPS, tank, or heal for you, and at least right now in the PTR in our experience, it's kind of more of a burden than anything else if you're a skilled DPS player. I hope this gets tuned up over the PTR, fixed up a little bit. We can certainly take a look and have a think about Brand's whole recent saga and be a little bit suspicious, but again, if they get this right, and they do have ample time to do that, I'd say this would definitely be a good feature for a lot of people going in there as DPS. It's a little bit spooky. If you've got a healer, though, that'll feel a lot better, so let's hope they get this thing right. Now, that being said, let's talk about how these are different as a piece of content. Visions aren't just better as an overall experience and loop, they themselves are actually a bit different, so here's how. Blizzard are testing out new forms of progression, and they're actually really satisfying. So you've got two different types of upgrades in this. One of them is the usual talent tree that's got massive bonuses to sanity and to damage. Now, this one is frustratingly time-gated. So yeah, you can't max it out in day one. A new row will unlock every week, so after a few weeks it will be quite easy. I do kind of roll my eye at the time gating happening the way that it is. Doesn't feel like a talent tree if it's time gated. Come on, Blizzard. But as an example, on week 2, of course week 2 in the PTR, we pulled off a full 5 mask solo clear. Now, that did require near perfect gameplay, right? So it's not like it was easy. On week 1, it was pretty much impossible. On week 3, it should be a good bit easier. That is at least to say that the upgrades do matter and the content itself is actually pretty damn challenging. Now, the second thing is something new, and I actually think it's quite cool. So it's called Tributes, and it's a direct upgrade for if you're the sort of person who's farming these out. What you'll notice is that parts of the old talent tree have been worked into this new Tributes thing. Now, Tributes are basically a direct upgrade for whenever you're farming, and it kind of feels like when you're playing a roguelike game, you'll have some sort of currency where, you know, you can buy upgrades, right, after you die. And at certain breakpoints, these buffs will level up. That'll do things like restoring sanity on an elite kill, giving you more damage, maybe stacking haste and a speed buff. So what it basically is a layer of classic RPG progression, which is kind of neat, and it actually fixes the earlier problem with all of those things being on the time-gated talent tree. So if you mess up a run, you didn't waste your time. You're still progressing. You'll have maybe leveled up or contributed to the leveling up of a bunch of your tributes. Next run, maybe you'll hit an upgrade, it'll be easier. And this is the type of thing that drives playtime in roguelites. You know, the idea of just one more run because you're really close to an upgrade, and then maybe one more run to try out that upgrade, and then maybe another run after that because maybe you can clear it this time. I mean, come on, that stuff kind of works, and let's be real, we're MMO gamers, we were basically born to fill up bars. Now, to add to this, Blizzard have also put in 3 brand new masks with new effects. They're called Multitudes, Nemesis, and Vengeance, and if you're completely demented and you're able to solo this, with all 8 masks on, you will earn the title The Mad, which I think's, pretty cool. And speaking of new rewards, Blizzard have actually kind of nailed this. So there are new secret mounts like this Void Forged Stallion, there's the new Void Crystal Panther for jewel crafters, and of course the Void Fire Death Cycle, which is, pretty metal looking. I definitely want one. Plus, there's a huge list of Void Scarred pets that drop randomly from the final boxes, and there's even more secret mounts that have actually been data mined. Now, the vendor is then packed with all the old rewards from Battle for Azeroth, plus whole stacks of new ones like the Corruption of the Aspects. So that's all pretty nice. But if gear is your thing, good news. Blizzard have actually woven this in as an extra weekly reward where you'll be earning veteran and champion gear each week, with the stronger gear coming from higher clears. As an example, a 2-mask clear, which is fairly simple I would say, nets 642 champion gear, and a 3-mask will give you 645 and so on, where the best gear we've seen is 658 for doing a 5-mask clear. Maybe it'll go higher, we haven't exactly done an 8-mask clear in the PTR yet. And it actually works in a helpful way. It's not 1 reward per week. It's 1 reward per difficulty per week. So if you clear, say, 2 masks for a 642-bit, you can go again with 3 masks and you'll still get the 645-bit. And then your next run could maybe get you, say, the 639 that you would usually get for doing a 1-mask clear. And that does mean this is a good way to actually get a bunch of different bits of gear. I mean, unless you're just the sort who's going to go and roll, say, 3 dupe belts, which is the kind of thing that would happen to me. So what that actually means is multiple bits of pretty damn good, pretty usable gear, really per character per week, and not from doing some random weekly box silly thing with your brain turned off. No, from doing an actual piece of content. I think that's pretty good. And I'd say these are not tuned to be so hard that you'd only be, doing them whenever you don't need the gear anymore. So as an example, we've been testing on live characters that are copied over to the PTR with barely any Season 2 gear, and we've been having a pretty good time. What this basically means is this will be perfect for mains that are lagging behind in gear. It'll be great for any ults that you might pick up, and of course, real good for returning players. Now, there's another nice thing. If random loot is not your favorite thing, how about just earning weapons outright? So, with a 0 mask, 1 mask, and 5 mask clear, you'll be able to buy veteran, champion, and hero weapons just from the vendors. Walk in, clear it a few times, and bam, there you go. No messing about. You have immediately got yourself a massive upgrade once you prove yourself. I think that's a real big win. To be honest, leveling up a new character and having a goal that will immediately get me a really good weapon for that character, that actually feels pretty damn good. So far, we've seen that the way you access this content is way better. The rewards are way better. The progression is in fact better. And the way you can get gear, that's all pretty damn good. But why are Blizzard bringing this back? I mean, it's coming at some point in 11.1.5. I guess because it sort of fits the theme of, Black Blood, N'Zoth, all of that. But I think what it really shows is Blizzard's main goal is not some sort of off-seasonal optimization or some super tight design plan that they can't deviate from. I think they basically just worked out that it fits the theme. They can try to polish it up, and maybe that will give people something to do that is fun. And if you ask me, Horrific Visions as a game mode is amazing. It's not for everyone, and that's good. It shouldn't be. It's for people who really enjoy WoW's combat, who like pushing themselves, right? And for that type of player, this is pretty much some of the best stuff that Blizzard have ever made. It's fantastic, and yes, you can get that in M+. Yes, you can get that in a raid, but doing it yourself, solo challenge, basically a roguelite within World of Warcraft, that is damn cool, and I'm so happy that it's back. And it's good that Blizzard make content that doesn't appeal to everybody, that isn't just another slice of generic Warcraft. We had that with the Siren Isle. It didn't really set the world on fire. If you make something for everyone, then you end up making something for no one. And so often Blizzard would be terrified of that. I mean, why the hell do you think Blizzard made it so you had to do horrific visions to upgrade your cloak in patch 8.3? Why do you think they made it so you needed to farm the 8.3 world content to even buy the thing that let you do the horrific vision? Because they were terrified that maybe people who love horrific visions wouldn't do world content, or that people who do world content wouldn't do the horrific visions. That was a dangerous, disastrous form of design born out of fear that damaged this game so much. So I'm glad to see that they're willing to do things that are not for everyone. Sure, you may not like it, but this is the design methodology that means that whenever they make something that's for you, they're actually going to try to make it for you and not just for everyone, meaning it will be boring and pointless. So for me, big thumbs up for this. I think this is great. Blizzard are bringing back an amazing feature. They fixed it up for modern WoW. It's really fun. Closer to release, we'll have a guide on this to help you get all of the rewards and yes, even the mad title if you are unhinged enough to get it. So stay tuned. If you want more of the WoW updates, check out this video next.